Hello everyone, and welcome back to Snoozing Scientist. Tonight, we're going to wander somewhere quiet, somewhere just beneath our feet, into a world that most people walk across every day without ever noticing. We're going underground. We're going into the hidden kingdom of fungi. Before we begin, take a slow breath, and if you'd like, leave a comment below and tell us where you're listening from tonight. Somewhere under your city, your town, your forest, or your desert, fungal networks are quietly growing. It's a peaceful thought that no matter where we are in the world, something ancient is slowly weaving itself through the soil beneath us. Now, let's imagine the forest floor. It looks still from above. Leaves rest in layers. Twigs lie scattered. Roots stretch downward in silence. But beneath that calm surface, there is movement. Threads thinner than a strand of hair extend outward in every direction, branching, searching, connecting. These threads are called hyphae. Each hypha is a tiny filament, almost impossibly thin, yet capable of stretching for astonishing distances. When many hyphae intertwine, they form what is known as a mycelial network, a vast, living web that can span acres, sometimes even miles, beneath a single forest. Unlike plants, fungi do not use sunlight to create energy. They do not photosynthesize. Instead, they absorb nutrients from their surroundings. They are masters of decomposition, quietly breaking down fallen leaves, dead wood, and organic matter into simpler compounds that return to the soil. Without fungi, forests would suffocate under their own fallen debris. Nothing would rot. Nothing would return to the earth. The world would slowly fill with what never decays. But fungi do not just decompose. They connect. Many trees form symbiotic relationships with fungi through structures known as mycorrhizae. In these partnerships, fungal hyphae wrap around or even enter tree roots. The tree provides sugars produced through photosynthesis. The fungi, in return, extend far beyond the reach of the roots, absorbing water and minerals from the soil and delivering them back to the tree. It is a trade agreement older than animals. The tree feeds the fungus. The fungus feeds the tree. Through these underground networks, trees can even share resources. Scientists have observed that older trees sometimes transfer carbon to younger seedlings through shared mycelial connections. Nutrients can move across species boundaries. Chemical signals can travel from one root system to another. The forest, it turns out, is not just a collection of individuals. It is a network. And fungi are the quiet architects. In some forests, a single fungal organism can span several square miles. One of the largest known living organisms on Earth is a fungus in Oregon, an Armillaria species, whose mycelial network extends underground for nearly 4 square miles and is estimated to be thousands of years old. It is older than recorded history. Older than cities. Older than nations. And it grows slowly, steadily, invisibly. Fungi also produce some of the most chemically complex molecules in nature. Penicillin, the antibiotic that revolutionized medicine, was discovered in a mold. Other fungal compounds are being studied for cancer treatment, immune modulation, and even neurological effects. Some fungi glow faintly in the dark, a phenomenon called bioluminescence. Others can survive extreme environments, from arid deserts to frozen tundra. Their spores, microscopic and lightweight, drift through the air like invisible dust, capable of traveling continents on the wind. And yet, most of the fungus is never seen. What we call a mushroom, the cap rising above soil, is only the fruiting body. It is temporary, brief, like a flower blooming after rain. The true organism remains below, threaded, interwoven, persistent. Even now, beneath sidewalks and buildings, beneath quiet parks and mountain forests, fungal hyphae are extending outward, breaking down molecules, exchanging nutrients, linking roots, communicating chemically in ways we are only beginning to understand. It is not communication in the way animals speak. It is chemical, subtle, a shifting of resources in response to need. If a tree is stressed, certain signals may travel through the network. If soil nutrients change, the flow adjusts. The system is dynamic, not conscious, not intentional, but responsive. The forest breathes together underground, and fungi are the lungs of the soil. As you lie here now, imagine that beneath wherever you are, threads are stretching quietly through the earth. They have been there long before you arrived. They will remain long after. There is something calming in that. Something ancient. A slow weaving beneath the world. Beneath the quiet forest floor, fungi are working. But they are not confined to forests. They live in the air you breathe, in the soil beneath your garden, on the surfaces of your home, and even, gently and usually harmlessly, on and within your body. The influence of fungi on human health is older than civilization. Long before laboratories and microscopes, humans noticed that certain molds seemed to heal wounds. In 1928, Alexander Fleming returned from vacation to find that a mold called Penicillium notatum had contaminated one of his bacterial cultures. Around the mold, the bacteria had died. From that quiet accident came penicillin. And from penicillin came a revolution. It is easy to forget how many fungal-derived compounds shape modern medicine. Cephalosporins, another class of antibiotics, were derived from fungi. Cyclosporine, a powerful immunosuppressant that allows organ transplant recipients to survive, also came from a fungus. Statins, which help regulate cholesterol, trace their origins to fungal metabolites. Fungi are chemical architects. Their survival strategy has always depended on competition, competing with bacteria, other fungi, and microbes for space and nutrients. To survive, they evolved complex biochemical defenses. Many of those defenses became medicines in human hands. But fungi influence human health in quieter ways too. Each time you step outside, fungal spores drift invisibly through the air. They are everywhere, in forests, cities, deserts, coastlines. Most are harmless. Your immune system encounters them daily and responds calmly. The immune system is trained through exposure, learning what is dangerous and what is not. For some people, however, certain fungal spores can trigger allergic responses. Mold allergies are not the result of invasion, but of an immune system that reacts too strongly to otherwise common environmental signals. The relationship between fungi and the immune system is delicate, shaped by genetics, exposure history, and overall immune balance. Inside the human body, fungi exist as part of what scientists call the microbiome, the fungal component of the broader microbiome. Though they are far fewer in number than bacteria, they are present in the mouth, the gut, and on the skin. Species like Candida live naturally within the gut in small, controlled populations. Under balanced conditions, they coexist peacefully. But if bacterial populations are disrupted, for example, after a course of antibiotics, fungal populations can expand. Balance shifts. Health, in many cases, is not about elimination. It is about equilibrium. The immune system does not aim to sterilize the body. It aims to regulate. Some fungi also produce compounds that interact with the nervous system. The most well-known examples come from certain species of mushrooms containing psilocybin. In controlled, clinical environments, psilocybin is being studied for its potential to influence neural connectivity, particularly in depression and anxiety disorders. But even beyond these more dramatic examples, fungi influence neurological health indirectly. Many antifungal compounds and fungal metabolites interact with inflammatory pathways, and inflammation itself is deeply connected to mood and cognitive health. Fungi also shape the soil that grows our food. This influence may be one of the most profound. Through mycorrhizal partnerships with plants, fungi increase nutrient availability in crops. They help plants absorb phosphorus, nitrogen, and water more efficiently. Healthier plants produce more nutrient-dense food. The quality of the soil microbiome, including fungi, influences agricultural health, which in turn influences human nutrition. Even the decomposition work fungi perform in forests contributes to the carbon cycle. By breaking down lignin and cellulose, tough plant materials few organisms can digest, fungi release nutrients back into ecosystems. Without them, carbon would remain locked in fallen trees. Soil fertility would decline. Entire food webs would collapse. Human health is tied to ecological health. And ecological health depends, in part, on fungi. In hospitals, fungi are studied carefully because certain species can become opportunistic pathogens in individuals with weakened immune systems. Aspergillus, Cryptococcus, and invasive Candida infections are serious in immunocompromised patients. But these cases remind us of something fundamental: fungi are part of our shared environment. When immune defenses are strong and balanced, coexistence is the norm. When immunity is compromised, the balance can tilt. Again, equilibrium. And there is something quietly humbling in this. The same kingdom of life that produces life-saving antibiotics also produces allergens. The same fungal networks that nourish forests can, in rare contexts, cause disease. The influence is not moral. It is biological. Fungi do not intend harm or healing. They simply survive. And through their survival, they intersect with ours. Even fermentation, something as ordinary as bread rising or yogurt culturing, involves fungal or fungal-like organisms. Yeast, a single-celled fungus, has shaped human history through baking and brewing. The soft texture of bread, the fermentation of beverages, even the rise of ancient civilizations were influenced by fungal metabolism. They are quiet partners in culture as well as biology. When you breathe in tonight, spores may drift gently through the air around you. Most will pass unnoticed, filtered by your respiratory defenses. Your immune system will evaluate them calmly. Inside your gut, fungal cells coexist with bacterial neighbors in a careful balance maintained through chemical signals and immune oversight. On your skin, microscopic fungi share space with bacteria, each occupying specific ecological niches. And beneath forests, mycelial networks continue weaving soil into fertile ground, influencing the plants that eventually become your food. Human health is not separate from fungi. It is intertwined. In medicines, in ecosystems, in immune training, in agriculture, in metabolism, in the air itself. And as you rest now, the thought can feel strangely soothing, that beneath complexity, beneath competition and cooperation, beneath chemistry and immunity, there is simply life interacting with life. Quietly, anciently, continuously. Fungi have existed for hundreds of millions of years. They survived mass extinctions. They adapted to changing climates. They spread across continents unseen. And now, in this moment, they continue their quiet work in soil, in air, in forests, and even in you. Not dramatic, not loud, just present. And as your breathing slows, you can imagine the invisible kingdom of fungi continuing its patient existence beneath the world and within it, woven into the fabric of life itself. When people hear the phrase fungal intelligence, something in the mind stirs. We imagine thoughts, intentions, conscious planning beneath the soil. But intelligence, in biology, does not always mean thought. It can mean responsiveness, adaptation, problem-solving without a brain. And fungi, though they have no neurons, no centralized nervous system, behave in ways that feel surprisingly strategic. Beneath the forest floor, mycelial networks are constantly making decisions, not consciously, but chemically. A hyphal tip encounters a rock. It redirects growth. It encounters a rich pocket of nutrients. It branches outward. It senses dryness. It slows expansion. It senses moisture. It accelerates. These are not reflexes in the way muscles contract. They are distributed responses across thousands, sometimes millions, of growing tips. Each hyphal tip acts semi-independently, guided by gradients of nutrients, electrical impulses, and environmental signals. If one pathway becomes blocked, growth shifts elsewhere. If a region becomes depleted, resources are redistributed. In laboratory experiments, fungal networks have demonstrated the ability to optimize nutrient distribution across complex layouts. In some famous studies, scientists placed oat flakes in patterns resembling cities connected by roads. When a slime mold, a fungal-like organism, was allowed to grow across this landscape, it formed networks remarkably similar to efficient transportation maps. It did not know what it was building. It simply followed local rules, chemical gradients, cost minimization, energy efficiency. And yet the result resembled intelligent design. True fungi, too, exhibit network optimization behaviors. Mycelium tends to strengthen frequently used pathways and retract less efficient ones. This plasticity, the ability to reorganize based on use, mirrors, in a loose way, how neural networks strengthen frequently used synaptic connections. But fungi do not have brains. Instead, they possess distributed sensing systems. Electrical signaling has been observed in fungal networks. Tiny voltage changes move along hyphae in patterns that resemble neural impulses. Some researchers suggest these electrical oscillations may coordinate growth and resource allocation. It is not thought. It is coordination. If one region of the mycelium encounters food, signals travel outward, adjusting growth elsewhere. The organism reallocates internal nutrients to where they are most useful. It balances expansion with conservation. It adapts. Some fungi can even alter their growth strategies based on past environmental conditions. Exposure to stress, dryness, salinity, nutrient scarcity can change future responses. While not memory in the conscious sense, it represents a kind of biological imprinting. Past conditions influence future behavior. In forests, mycorrhizal fungi connect multiple trees. Through these connections, carbon, nitrogen, and chemical signals can move between root systems. If one tree is shaded and struggling, nutrients may flow toward it from a healthier neighbor via fungal intermediaries. The fungus does not care in a moral sense, but it benefits from keeping its host trees alive. A stable forest supports a stable network, and so the system balances itself. Perhaps what we call intelligence in fungi is something broader, the ability of a living network to sense, respond, optimize, and persist without central command. No brain. No leader. Just countless interacting nodes following local rules that produce global coherence. There is something deeply calming about that idea, because it suggests that complexity does not always require control. Order can emerge from simple interactions. Life can organize itself through feedback loops and gradients. Even human brains are networks of cells following electrochemical rules. Consciousness emerges from interaction, not from a single commanding neuron. Fungi remind us that intelligence may not be a ladder with humans at the top, but a spectrum of adaptive strategies. Their thinking is not thinking like ours. It is sensing, adjusting, growing, retreating, reinforcing, persisting, in darkness, without awareness, and yet profoundly effective. If you were to kneel in a forest at night and press your hand gently into the soil, you would not feel it moving. You would not hear it communicating. But beneath your palm, millions of microscopic decisions would be unfolding, hyphae branching toward nutrients, retracting from toxins, redistributing resources along internal highways. It is a quiet intelligence, one without ego, without noise, without urgency, just slow, steady adaptation. And perhaps that is why fungi feel so mysterious to us. They demonstrate that life does not need a brain to solve problems. It needs structure, feedback, connection, and time. As you lie here now, breathing slowly, consider that intelligence in the natural world often looks different from what we expect. It may not speak. It may not move quickly. It may not shine under bright lights. It may exist underground, woven in threads thinner than hair, coordinating a forest without ever being seen. Not conscious, not aware, but undeniably capable. Imagine a forest at night. The air is cool and damp. The wind has settled. Leaves rest quietly against one another, and the world above the canopy has faded into shadow. No artificial lights. No noise. Just darkness layered over soil and roots and fallen wood. And then, softly, almost imperceptibly at first, something glows. Not bright like a flashlight. Not flashing like a firefly. Just a steady, faint green light emerging from a rotting log or the underside of a mushroom cap. This is not imagination. Some fungi truly glow in the dark. The phenomenon is called bioluminescence, and it is produced by certain fungal species through a chemical reaction inside their cells. The light is often a gentle green, subtle, almost ghost-like, visible only when the forest is deeply dark. More than 80 species of bioluminescent fungi have been identified worldwide. Many belong to the genus Mycelium, delicate mushrooms that sprout from decaying wood. Others glow along tree trunks in tropical forests, creating what early explorers once described as foxfire, faint lights shimmering across fallen timber. The glow is not random. It is the result of a biochemical reaction involving a molecule called luciferin. When luciferin reacts with oxygen in the presence of an enzyme called luciferase, light is released as a byproduct. The energy that might otherwise be lost as heat is emitted as visible photons instead. It is an efficient reaction. Quiet. Cold light. But why glow at all? One leading hypothesis suggests that bioluminescent fungi attract insects at night. Insects drawn to the light may brush against the mushroom spores and carry them to new locations. In dense, dark forests where wind movement is limited, attracting mobile organisms could be an effective strategy for dispersal. The fungus does not decide to shine. It evolved the capacity. And over generations, those whose glow helped spread spores more effectively persisted. There is something mesmerizing about that idea. A soft green glow beneath trees, not for beauty, not for spectacle, but for survival. In laboratory settings, scientists have observed that the glow of some fungi follows circadian rhythms. The brightness may increase at night when insects are more active and fade during daylight hours. Even without a brain, without eyes, without awareness, the fungus synchronizes its chemistry with the cycle of the earth. Light in darkness. Timing without thought. If you were to walk alone through a rainforest after midnight and allow your eyes to adjust, you might begin to see faint patches of luminescence along fallen branches. Not enough to illuminate your path. Just enough to hint that the forest floor is alive in ways you cannot fully perceive. Bioluminescence is not limited to fungi. Fireflies, deep-sea fish, certain algae, many organisms produce their own light. But in fungi, the glow feels different. It emerges from stillness, from decay, from the slow breakdown of wood into soil. Light born from decomposition. It feels almost symbolic. Dead trees returning to earth while emitting a final, quiet shimmer. And yet, there is nothing mystical about it. It is chemistry. Luciferin oxidizing. Electron shifting energy states. Photons released. But knowing the mechanism does not make it less beautiful. In fact, it deepens the wonder. Because it means that even in darkness, even in places we rarely look, life is capable of creating light through its own internal reactions. As you imagine that forest now, cool air, damp soil, faint green glows along fallen logs, it becomes easier to sense how much of the natural world operates quietly, outside our attention. Beneath the glow is mycelium spreading. Beneath the mycelium is soil rich with bacteria and roots. Above it, trees rise into the night sky. All connected. All exchanging. All adapting. The glowing mushroom is not separate from the forest. It is an expression of it. And perhaps that is the most calming thought of all. That even in darkness, life finds ways to respond. To signal. To persist. To glow gently. You may never see bioluminescent fungi in person. Most people do not. But somewhere tonight, in a forest far from cities, faint green lights are quietly shining from rotting wood. Not loudly. Not urgently. Just steadily. As your breathing slows now, imagine those small lights beneath trees. Imagine the soft shimmer beneath fallen leaves. Imagine the soil alive with threads of mycelium, weaving and feeding and adjusting in silence. The world beneath us is never truly dark. It is simply subtle. And like the fungi themselves, it continues its quiet work. Glowing softly where no one is watching. Imagine a forest at night. The air is cool and damp. The wind has settled. Leaves rest quietly against one another, and the world above the canopy has faded into shadow. No artificial lights. No noise. Just darkness layered over soil and roots and fallen wood. And then, softly, almost imperceptibly at first, something glows. Not bright like a flashlight. Not flashing like a firefly. Just a steady, faint green light emerging from a rotting log or the underside of a mushroom cap. This is not imagination. Some fungi truly glow in the dark. The phenomenon is called bioluminescence, and it is produced by certain fungal species through a chemical reaction inside their cells. The light is often a gentle green, subtle, almost ghost-like, visible only when the forest is deeply dark. More than 80 species of bioluminescent fungi have been identified worldwide. Many belong to the genus Mycena, delicate mushrooms that sprout from decaying wood. Others glow along tree trunks in tropical forests, creating what early explorers once described as foxfire, faint lights shimmering across fallen timber. The glow is not random. It is the result of a biochemical reaction involving a molecule called luciferin. When luciferin reacts with oxygen in the presence of an enzyme called luciferase, light is released as a byproduct. The energy that might otherwise be lost as heat is emitted as visible photons instead. It is an efficient reaction. Quiet. Cold light. But why glow at all? One leading hypothesis suggests that bioluminescent fungi attract insects at night. Insects drawn to the light may brush against the mushroom spores and carry them to new locations. In dense, dark forests where wind movement is limited, attracting mobile organisms could be an effective strategy for dispersal. The fungus does not decide to shine. It evolved the capacity. And over generations, those whose glow helped spread spores more effectively persisted. There is something mesmerizing about that idea. A soft green glow beneath trees, not for beauty, not for spectacle, but for survival. In laboratory settings, scientists have observed that the glow of some fungi follows circadian rhythms. The brightness may increase at night when insects are more active and fade during daylight hours. Even without a brain, without eyes, without awareness, the fungus synchronizes its chemistry with the cycle of the earth. Light in darkness. Timing without thought. If you were to walk alone through a rainforest after midnight and allow your eyes to adjust, you might begin to see faint patches of luminescence along fallen branches. Not enough to illuminate your path. Just enough to hint that the forest floor is alive in ways you cannot fully perceive. Bioluminescence is not limited to fungi. Fireflies, deep-sea fish, certain algae, many organisms produce their own light. But in fungi, the glow feels different. It emerges from stillness, from decay, from the slow breakdown of wood into soil. Light born from decomposition. It feels almost symbolic. Dead trees returning to earth while emitting a final, quiet shimmer. And yet, there is nothing mystical about it. It is chemistry. Luciferin oxidizing. Electrons shifting energy states. Photons released. But knowing the mechanism does not make it less beautiful. In fact, it deepens the wonder. Because it means that even in darkness, even in places we rarely look, life is capable of creating light through its own internal reactions. As you imagine that forest now, cool air, damp soil, faint green glows along fallen logs, it becomes easier to sense how much of the natural world operates quietly, outside our attention. Beneath the glow is mycelium spreading. Beneath the mycelium is soil rich with bacteria and roots. Above it, trees rise into the night sky. All connected. All exchanging. All adapting. The glowing mushroom is not separate from the forest. It is an expression of it. And perhaps that is the most calming thought of all. That even in darkness, life finds ways to respond. To signal. To persist. To glow gently. You may never see bioluminescent fungi in person. Most people do not. But somewhere tonight, in a forest far from cities, faint green lights are quietly shining from rotting wood. Not loudly. Not urgently. Just steadily. As your breathing slows now, imagine those small lights beneath trees. Imagine the soft shimmer beneath fallen leaves. Imagine the soil alive with threads of mycelium, weaving and feeding and adjusting in silence. The world beneath us is never truly dark. It is simply subtle. And like the fungi themselves, it continues its quiet work. Glowing softly where no one is watching. Beneath the forest floor, the world moves slowly. Not in seconds or minutes, but in seasons and decades. Hyphae extend millimeter by millimeter, branching, merging, dissolving, rebuilding. A fallen tree does not vanish overnight. It softens gradually, lignin loosening under enzymatic attack, cellulose unraveling like threads pulled from cloth. Fungi are not hurried. They operate on scales of patience. Some mycelial networks persist for thousands of years. The great armillaria in Oregon, often called the humongous fungus, is estimated to be at least 2,000 years old. The organism is not the mushroom you see above ground. That is temporary. The true body stretches underground, a continuous genetic individual occupying acres of soil. It is one life, spanning centuries. While empires rose and fell, it grew quietly through roots and wood. Time feels different underground. Hyphae pulse gently with cytoplasm streaming through microscopic channels. Fungal cells are often separated by septa, cross walls with tiny pores that allow nutrients and organelles to pass from one compartment to another. It is not a rigid structure. It is fluid, dynamic. Growth at the tip is guided by pressure and chemistry. The cell wall softens. The membrane extends. Vesicles deliver enzymes to the frontier. The tip pushes forward, splitting soil particles, sliding along root surfaces. The fungus does not need a brain to navigate. It senses gradients, moisture, nutrients, toxins, and adjusts direction accordingly. Over time, these tiny adjustments accumulate into vast underground architectures. And deeper still, fungi do something even more extraordinary. They reshape ecosystems across geological time. After mass extinction events, when forests fell and organic matter blanketed the planet, fungi were among the organisms that recycled that carbon back into the system. They possess enzymes capable of breaking down lignin, a complex molecule that gives wood its strength. Few organisms can dismantle lignin efficiently. Without fungi, forests would not cycle nutrients effectively. Carbon would accumulate in rigid, undecayed structures. Soil fertility would collapse. Instead, fungi soften wood, release nutrients, and feed bacteria, insects, and plants in a cascade of life. Even today, deep in tropical rainforests and temperate woodlands, fungal decomposition governs how quickly carbon moves from plant matter back into the atmosphere or soil. They influence global carbon cycles quietly, steadily, invisibly. And if we move deeper still, into the molecular scale, fungal genomes reveal a history of horizontal gene transfer, duplication, and adaptation stretching back hundreds of millions of years. Their enzymes evolved under pressures we can barely imagine. Ancient climates, shifting continents, oxygen fluctuations. The forest floor is not simply soil. It is layered time. Spores settle. Some germinate. Others remain dormant for years, waiting for moisture, waiting for a fallen branch, waiting for the right temperature. Dormancy itself is a kind of suspended animation, life paused but not extinguished. When conditions align, metabolism resumes. Growth begins again. Imagine a spore drifting through the air tonight, too small to see. It lands gently on a rotting log in some quiet forest. It absorbs water. The cell awakens. Hyphae emerge. The process is not dramatic. Just a tiny filament extending into wood. From that single beginning, an entire network may eventually spread. Not tomorrow. Not next week. But slowly. Patiently. Fungi teach something different about existence. They do not rush toward light. They do not compete in spectacle. They do not bloom brightly for applause. They weave. They decompose. They connect. They glow faintly in darkness. And they endure. As you lie here now, think of the world beneath cities, beneath houses, beneath sidewalks. Even there, soil persists. Roots push downward. Mycelium threads through hidden cracks. Life continues in spaces we rarely consider. The surface world feels fast. The underground world feels timeless. And yet they are intertwined. Trees depend on fungal networks for nutrients. Crops rely on fungal partnerships for phosphorus uptake. Medicines derived from fungi circulate through human bloodstreams. Yeasts ferment bread and wine and beer, shaping cultures and histories. Fungi move through time with us. Not loudly. Not urgently. Just persistently. If you imagine the earth itself as a layered organism, fungi would be part of its connective tissue, binding soil to root, root to tree, tree to forest, forest to atmosphere. And all of it unfolding in silence. Perhaps that is the deepest place we can go tonight. Not into complexity. Not into spectacle. But into stillness. Into the slow realization that beneath our feet, beneath our worries and our schedules and our bright electric lights, there is a quieter system at work. Threads weaving. Wood softening. Light glowing faintly from decay. Networks adjusting. Time unfolding. And you are part of that same rhythm. You move quickly above ground. But beneath you, life moves slowly. Steady. Ancient. Unseen. And as your breathing grows softer now, imagine the forest floor at night, hyphae extending gently, spores resting in dark soil, faint green light shimmering along a fallen branch. The world is deeper than it looks. And beneath the surface, it continues, calm, patient, endlessly alive. You might imagine the sky as empty. Just air and vapor. But drifting thousands of feet above the ground, microscopic life moves with the wind, including fungal spores. They rise from forests, fields, deserts, even cities, carried upward by thermal currents. Some of them travel astonishing distances, crossing oceans and continents before settling again. And here is where it becomes unexpected. Certain fungal spores may help form clouds. Water in the atmosphere does not condense into droplets easily on its own. It needs tiny particles, nuclei, around which vapor can gather. Dust works. Sea salt works. And in some cases, biological particles, including fungal spores, can serve as condensation nuclei. A spore drifting in cold air can attract water molecules. Vapor gathers. A droplet forms. Enough droplets gather, and clouds thicken. Some research even suggests that biological particles may influence precipitation. In certain conditions, ice crystals form around microbial particles more readily than around inorganic dust. Which means, very quietly, fungal spores rising from a forest may help seed rainfall somewhere far away. The forest exhales. Spores lift into the sky. Clouds form. Rain falls. New forests grow. It is not mystical. It is cyclical. The earth breathing through layers. And fungi are part of that breath. But we can go even stranger. Deep underground. Not just in forests, but kilometers below the surface, fungi have been found living inside rock fractures, surviving on minimal nutrients, in darkness, under pressure. Some species tolerate radiation levels that would harm most organisms. Others endure near-freezing conditions or extreme dryness for years. In Antarctica, certain fungi live inside rocks themselves, protected from wind and cold, metabolizing slowly in a state almost suspended between life and dormancy. Fungi do not require sunlight. They require opportunity. And where opportunity exists, in cracks, in decay, in darkness, they adapt. Some scientists even speculate about fungal-like organisms in extraterrestrial environments. Not the mushrooms of fairy tales, but microbial fungi capable of surviving in extreme conditions. Their resilience makes them candidates in discussions about life beyond Earth. Life does not need brightness. It needs chemistry. It needs energy gradients. It needs structure. And fungi have mastered survival in margins. Now imagine this. A single fungal spore released from a mushroom cap on a damp forest morning rises invisibly into the air. It drifts upward, caught in a thermal current. It travels for days. It crosses mountains. It hovers inside clouds. It helps gather moisture. Rain forms. It falls into distant soil. There, in a new forest, it germinates. Thread by thread, hypha by hypha, a new network begins. No passport. No plan. Just wind and water. Unexpected. The deeper we look at fungi, the less they resemble simple mushrooms and the more they resemble something like connective tissue for the planet itself. They break down what has fallen. They nourish what grows. They travel through air. They shape soil. They influence medicine. They glow in darkness. They persist in rock. They ride clouds. And they do all of this without noise. Without urgency. Without spectacle. Perhaps the most unexpected truth is not how strange they are. It is how essential they are. As you lie here now, imagine the sky above you, even if it is dark, even if you cannot see it. Somewhere up there, invisible particles drift. Some of them began in forests. Some of them will return to forests. The cycle continues, silent and immense. You are surrounded by systems far older and far broader than any single moment. And fungi, patient, adaptive, woven through air and soil. A part of that endless exchange. Unexpected does not always mean dramatic. Sometimes it means realizing that something you thought was small is everywhere. And so the forest grows quiet again. The glow beneath fallen logs fades into the background. The threads of mycelium continue their patient weaving beneath soil. Spores drift upward on currents too gentle to feel, rising into the sky without sound. Nothing dramatic happens. Nothing needs to. The world moves slowly in places we rarely look. Above ground, leaves fall and seasons change. Trees stretch toward light and roots press downward into darkness. Rain arrives and returns to air. Wind carries fragments of life from one place to another. And beneath it all, fungi remain steady. They do not rush. They do not compete for spectacle. They simply extend, branching quietly, connecting quietly, transforming what has fallen into what will grow next. The log that once stood tall becomes soft and nourishing. The leaf that fluttered in sunlight becomes soil. The soil feeds roots. Roots connect to threads. Threads form networks. And somewhere in that network, something glows faintly in the dark, not to be admired, not to be praised, but simply because that is how chemistry unfolds. You are part of this rhythm too. You walk above the soil, unaware of the threads beneath your steps. You breathe air that once passed through forests. You eat food grown in earth shaped by fungal hands. You take medicines derived from their ancient defenses. Even if you never see them, you live with them. And they live with you. There is something deeply calming about that thought, that beneath the speed of human life, beneath noise and deadlines and bright electric light, there is a quieter layer of existence. A patient layer. A woven layer. Threads that do not panic. Systems that do not hurry. Cycles that do not demand attention. The forest at night is not empty. It is resting. The soil is not still. It is working. The sky above is not silent. It is carrying life from place to place. And as you lie here now, breathing slowly, you can imagine those hidden systems continuing their steady labor, hyphae extending through damp earth, spores drifting gently through air, rain forming quietly in distant clouds. No rush. No urgency. Just life doing what it has always done. Perhaps that is the most peaceful truth of all. The world does not rely on noise to continue. It relies on small things, thin threads, tiny spores, quiet exchanges of energy, repeating over and over across centuries. Fungi have survived ice ages, droughts, shifting continents, and rising forests. They have endured without announcement. They have connected ecosystems without recognition. And tonight, they continue. Softly. Patiently. Unseen. As your breathing slows even more, imagine the soil beneath you. Even if you are in a city, even if concrete covers the ground. Somewhere beneath layers of stone and structure, earth remains. And within that earth, threads may still be weaving, slowly shaping the unseen world. You are never as separate from nature as you might think. You are layered within it. Above ground and below. Air and soil. Light and darkness. And as sleep approaches, you can let your thoughts drift downward like a falling leaf. Settling gently onto forest floor, dissolving into stillness, becoming part of something larger and slower and deeply alive. The threads continue. The glow fades and returns. The cycles turn. And you can rest. Good night.